Imagine a situation, one you hope you never find yourself in. You're questioned by the police about a crime you didn't commit. The pressure is immense, the questions relentless. Hours turn into an eternity. Eventually, exhausted and desperate, you say what you think they want to hear. You confess. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's a chilling reality for thousands of people. It's the phenomenon of false confessions, a profound miscarriage of justice that undermines the very foundation of our legal system. Today, we're going to explore why these confessions happen, the human cost involved, and perhaps most importantly, what truly ethical interviewing looks like, offering a path towards a more just future. At first glance, it might seem unbelievable. Why would anyone confess to something they didn't do? But the psychology behind false confessions is complex and deeply human, revealing how easily our minds can be influenced under duress. To truly understand this, we need to categorize these confessions, each type shedding light on different pressures at play. First, we have voluntary false confessions. These are given without direct external pressure. Think of individuals seeking attention, or perhaps feeling guilt over unrelated past misdeeds, or even trying to protect someone else. Mental health issues can also play a role, clouding judgment and perception. Then there are compliant false confessions. This is where an innocent person confesses simply to escape the immediate, overwhelming pressures of an interrogation. Imagine being subjected to hours of questioning, isolation, sleep deprivation, or even subtle threats and promises of leniency. It becomes a desperate attempt to make the ordeal stop, to just go home, even if it means admitting to something you didn't do. The most unsettling type, perhaps, is the persuaded or internalized false confession. Here, through deceptive tactics and misleading evidence presented by interrogators, an innocent person actually begins to believe they might have committed the crime. Their memories can even become distorted, leading them to confabulate details that align with the false narrative. It's a terrifying testament to the power of psychological manipulation. And who is most vulnerable to these tactics? We see certain risk factors emerge consistently. Situational risk factors include the obvious: prolonged custody and interrogation, isolation, and sleep deprivation, but also more insidious elements like implied promises of leniency or threats, and the highly controversial use of false evidence ploys, telling a suspect DNA evidence proves their guilt when it doesn't exist. Then there are dispositional risk factors, which point to particular populations: juveniles, individuals with intellectual disabilities, those with mental illnesses like autism or ADHD, and people with lower IQs. These individuals are inherently more susceptible due to less sophisticated reasoning, higher suggestibility, a tendency to comply, and simply having more difficulty understanding their legal rights. The relevance of this issue isn't abstract. Organizations like the Innocence Project have meticulously documented false confessions as a leading cause of wrongful convictions, accounting for approximately 28% of DNA exonerations. That's nearly 3 out of 10 innocent people locked away, their lives derailed, because of a confession that wasn't true. This persistent problem fuels urgent calls for systemic reform in interrogation practices. So, if accusatorial, pressure-filled interrogations are so risky, what's the alternative? This brings us to the core of ethical interviewing, a model designed not to elicit a confession at any cost, but to obtain accurate and reliable information without resorting to coercive or deceptive tactics. It's about a fundamental shift in philosophy. The principles of ethical interviewing are rooted in respect and transparency. Firstly, it means treating all suspects with dignity, regardless of the accusations. Secondly, transparency is key, providing clear information about the interview's purpose and ensuring informed consent, especially in non-custodial settings, so individuals truly understand their rights and the voluntary nature of their participation. Thirdly, rapport building is crucial, establishing a professional, trustworthy relationship. This isn't about being a friend, but about creating an environment where a person might feel comfortable sharing information, whether they're innocent or guilty. Fourth, and critically, it employs a non-accusatory approach. The interviewer isn't there to confront and corner, but to gather information, to listen, and to understand. Beyond the psychological, basic human needs are paramount.
Ethical interviewing ensures physical needs like food and sleep are met, recognizing that a depleted individual is far more vulnerable. And explicitly, it means avoiding coercion and deception. No threats, no promises of leniency, and absolutely no false evidence ploys. These tactics not only risk false confessions, but also erode public trust. Another vital technique is withholding key crime details. An ethical interviewer doesn't reveal specific, unpublicized facts about a crime. If a suspect truly committed the crime, they should be able to provide these details themselves. This is a powerful way to verify the accuracy and prevent contamination of a confession. And finally, a cornerstone of ethical interviewing is electronic recording. Mandatory recording of all custodial interrogations is a crucial reform. It provides an objective record of what transpired, protecting both the suspect and the police, enhancing transparency, and offering invaluable evidence for review. While Miranda v. Arizona established the requirement for police to inform suspects of their rights, the act of waiving those rights often happens quickly, sometimes without full comprehension, especially for vulnerable individuals. Ethical interviewing aims to ensure those rights are genuinely understood. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the major controversies. The primary debate pits the traditional, often confrontational Reid technique against modern information-gathering models like the UK's peace model. The Reid technique, with its psychological manipulations, including minimization, making the crime seem less severe, and maximization, exaggerating its severity, and its use of false evidence ploys, is heavily criticized for significantly increasing the risk of false confessions. Proponents of the peace model, on the other hand, champion its non-accusatory, rapport-based approach as a far more reliable method for obtaining accurate information, not just confessions. It's about building trust, active listening, and evidence-based questioning. The ethical and legal permissibility of police lying about evidence is a heated point of contention. Research overwhelmingly indicates it elevates the likelihood of false confessions, yet it remains permissible in many jurisdictions. Do we truly want a system that relies on deception to uncover truth? There's also ongoing debate about whether specific legal safeguards or outright bans on certain interrogation techniques are necessary for juveniles, individuals with intellectual disabilities, and those with mental health issues. Given their heightened susceptibility, shouldn't we offer enhanced protections? The future outlook, thankfully, points towards a global shift. We're seeing a slow but steady movement away from accusatory methods like the Reid technique and towards ethical information-gathering models such as the peace model.
This shift will likely be accompanied by continued advocacy for significant legal and policy reforms, mandatory electronic recording of all custodial interrogations, outright bans on deceptive tactics like false evidence ploys, and the implementation of enhanced protections for vulnerable populations. Academic research will continue to refine these practices, deepening our understanding of the psychology of false confessions and what truly works. Ultimately, there will be an increased emphasis on professionalizing interrogation training. Officers need to be equipped with ethical and effective techniques that prioritize accuracy, integrity, and justice above all else. Because a confession, while powerful, is only truly valuable if it's true. Understanding the dangers of false confessions and the principles of ethical interviewing isn't just an academic exercise. It's about safeguarding human rights, ensuring the integrity of our justice system, and working towards a world where truth, not coercion, is the ultimate goal. By advocating for these changes, we can help build a system that is truly fair, truly just, and truly reliable for everyone.